As a conclusion, you are obviously watching what's happening in South Africa. There's an upcoming election. Your brother-in-law is the current president. Do you sometimes, I'm not going to ask you if you think he's going to win, I'm assuming you're optimistic, but do you think that you've been a successful businessman, you're doing your job at the head of CAF, maybe for another mandate, maybe not, that South Africa's presidency could be an objective for you in the future?
You mean the South African presidency of a village in where Mandela lives? Or, but on a serious note, South Africans are exceptional people. Black South Africans, white South Africans, green South Africans of all colors, South Africans of all racial backgrounds, ethnic backgrounds, religious backgrounds. And you know, the more I travel around the world, the more I'm confident of the future of Africa. And in this context, the future of South Africa. Are there problems? Are there challenges? Absolutely. And in some cases, there are serious problems and serious challenges. And I think one of the biggest problems in South Africa and in other parts of the world is corruption. But again, if there are problems of corruption or improper behavior or conduct, take the people to court and have a prosecutorial and a judicial system that has integrity. Because when you take action against some of the big names, people who are connected, who are related with leaders, then you send a message that indeed nobody is above the law. So I'm confident that South Africa is a multi-party democracy. The family gives money to all political parties. Of course, we grew up in Mandela's party, and we'll always support Mandela's party. But I recognize that quite apart from having grown up and having had the honor and privilege to work with Mandela, I've got a duty to multi-party democracy. And the family donates money to all political parties because it is proper that including the party, the Mandela party, should be kept to account, should be questioned, should be interrogated, and let the people in South Africa decide. The issue of whether the president is my brother-in-law is the most unimportant and irrelevant issue. I have a duty to all South Africans, and of course I've got a duty to the poor, to the unemployed, to try and create a future, because people like myself who've got successful businesses and successful enterprises, if we don't educate and create a future for the unemployed and the marginalized, and also make sure that there's a proper confidence that corruption will not be tolerated, that crime will not be tolerated, and those who commit crime and corruption will be held to account. But I want to conclude that
you're not considering running in the future for president of South Africa?
I think there are people who will do a much better job than I ever can, and I encourage them to do that. But one other thing that's also important in the South African context is, people like myself have a duty to postulate, to put forward, to propose what is politically unpopular, what is in the interest of the country, rather than trying to run for votes, rather than trying to get people to elect you. So for as long as I have this broader perspective and broader obligation that indeed it is about uniting all South Africans, it's about creating a future for black South Africans, for white South Africans, for South Africans of all color, and also ensuring, because the basis of the future is the poor and marginalized and unemployed. We have to educate them. It starts with education. And then we've got to create jobs for them, but jobs in industries that are growing. Because sometimes we create jobs in industries that have no future. But I'm confident. South Africa has got exceptional people. Africa has got exceptional people. I travel all over the world, and Europe is important. America is important. China, India, South America. The world is important for trading and doing business with Africa. And in the context of football, we're trying to use football to bring people together, to create a common sense of a future where, irrespective of which part of the world you come from, irrespective of the color of your skin, irrespective of your ethnic background, irrespective of your religious background, that we can build a future that is good for the rest of the world. And there's a lot of good people. Of course, there are problems, but I've had the privilege of meeting some of the most outstanding people who are really committed to making a world that creates future and gives confidence and creates hope for mankind.